Welcome to Grey Primer, a weekly show that's mostly about miniatures. My name is Nick, I'm your host, and this episode is a little bit of a special one. I'm going to look at some accessories for dressing up your battlefield and your dioramas from a bunch of different brands. Anytime I see kits like this in model shops or toy shops, I tend to pick them up if I don't have them already, because you never know when like a few oil drums or ammo crates or sandbags tucked away in the corner of a diorama or strapped around a tank or something are just going to add that final finishing touch to make it look just a little bit special. Anytime I have done dioramas or those kind of scenery builds, I've always found that it's the tiny touches at the end which really set it apart. But I have kits here from Green Stuff World, AK Interactive, Italeri, Citadel, Tamiya. I'm probably missing one or two as well. And I'm just going to dig into my larger bits box and see if there are any like little molds and things that I've also purchased for making bricks and the like. And I'll share those with you as well. So let's get into it and have a look at all the bits and pieces that make up my battlefield. So I'm going to look at each brand in turn here that I use for battlefield accessories. This is by no means an exhaustive list of the brands who are making this stuff. There are plenty of others out there. Just check into your local hobby store and you can see a cornucopia of them. But let's start with MIG. MIG do this great little silicon brick mold. This is 1/35 scale, so this is fine with most larger model kits and Warhammer stuff. And it is this great flexible silicon block, and you can see their branding on the side there of it. And that's it, really. You just load that with resin or whatever material you're going to be casting. You can put plaster into that as well. Pour your resin over this or whatever you're going to use to cast with, and you can just scrape off the excess with this guy. Leave it to set, and then when you're good to go, you just flex it and pop everything out. And that does it. And then you just reuse it over and over again. I can't tell you how cool this is. This is it's a nice material. But anyway, that's the MIG 1/35 scale silicon brick mold for use with plaster. Okay, so just going to move on to Tamiya. Tamiya do a couple of really nice kits that I have here. The brick wall set and also the sandbags set. So just have a quick look at the brick wall set first. On the back there, it gives you some idea of what it's going to look like or what you can do with it. And here we have it. Very little construction required. These brick walls can interlock. They're two-sided, so it doesn't feel like you're having a display side and a non-display side. Because of the two sides, you can have them whatever way you want. And you can position these as you like, connect them with each other, leave them standing alone, snip away different parts of them, like punch a hole through them with like a drill, to give the sense that it's maybe a artillery shell has gone through a bit of a brick wall and left a ragged edge behind it. So there's a bit you can do there to customize these. Of course, spray a primer over it there, and you can color it whatever you want. And then we're into the sandbag set, and these are 1/35 scale. In all honesty, they'll probably be fine against like 28mm, 32mm hero scale, whatever. So Warhammer or for military dioramas in those scales, that'd be grand. Oh, we got a couple of loose ones. And these are the sandbags. You can stack them, lean them against things, have a bunch of them on a tank somewhere. That's what they look like. So you can see how you could have them stacked like this, a whole bunch of them. On the back of the box, they give some idea of there's it around a tank. And you can see how they've used it to surround this artillery piece as well, and then this group of soldiers in cover. So those are both from Tamiya. The next thing I have here is from Italeri, and these are the telegraph poles. Again, 1/35 scale. Italeri I've dealt with once before with the HEMTT kit that I looked at from the video series I did when I was orking up 20th and 21st century tanks and armored vehicles. And it proved to be an incredibly complex kit. One of their level 5 kits. This is not a level 5 kit. This is what they look like. Very straightforward. You've got the main pole here, and then you have the connector at the top, which matches this part at the back, the male connector there. And yeah, that makes your telegraph pole. And I suppose you don't have to connect this to this. You could have it as a shorter pole, or you can use these poles for something else. They feel like they have a slight texture to them. They're not perfectly smooth, which is kind of cool. And this one here at the end is super bumpy. So I don't know whether that's just a miscast or what that is, but pretty interesting. And could be used for many different things, sort of having scaled wooden poles like that. So that's the Italeri 135 telegraph pole. That's to give you an idea of what they look like, and those are the only instructions you get with it. Hard to go wrong with something like that. So now let's have a look at Green Stuff World. They have got so much stuff. Honestly, I'm sure Italeri and Tamiya have a bunch of like battlefield accessories as well, and I'll probably add more and more to my collection as I sort of check that out. Right now, it seems like I have more of Green Stuff World than anything else. So what do I have? I've got 135 scale ceramic bricks. I have more ceramic bricks. These ones in that sort of terracotta finish. I have bullet shells and rockets made of resin. And finally, I have some barbed wire. So just to look at the ceramic bricks, these are kind of what you would get on a floor. In this pack, you get 500-ish, I guess. And this is what they look like. They're pretty tiny, but as you can see, they are sort of in a chevron design, so you could easily interconnect those with each other. And as you can see from the images, there's lots of nice little layouts you can do with them. They're very small. You would probably want to be using tweezers with these when you're working with them. You can have them as scatter, so that if it looked like maybe there was a damaged building or something, this could be all form part of the rubble piles. You could lay them out precisely into a floor. And just want to go on to these standard 135 scale red bricks here. Again, I think there are 500 in this pack. That is what they look like. So they're flat on both sides. There are no holes in these like we saw with the MIG bricks. And yeah, this is, again, you could have these as part of a rubble pile, create a floor with them, actually build a wall with them, whatever you want to do. But they are nicely scaled to the most popular war games. So that's cool. And then here we have a resin kit that has got, I think it's just called the projectiles kit. Yeah. And different scale of shells and ammunition, spent casings. This is in a resin block, and it would be literally a case of cutting these off. And different ones here, so like the likes of shotgun shells and stuff. And finally, from Green Stuff World, I have this roll of barbed wire. And it honestly, it doesn't look like much in the pack, but let me just show you. You can feel the shape of it. You can feel it's not sharp, by the way. It's perfectly safe to do that. It does look sharp though. And to get this looking really like barbed wire, it's up to you how you do it. Personally, I'll take a pencil and just wrap it around a bunch of times. And very quickly, I have loops of barbed wire here, which could go around a tank or a gun emplacement or wherever you want, top of a wall. That was an incredibly quick demonstration, so it's not the tidiest, but with a little bit of care, you can wrap it around a pencil or a pen and get some really nice looking barbed wire. So that's Green Stuff World. Slide all this out of the way and bring in just this great little box of skulls from Citadel that really is unlike anything else that's out there for skulls. It's just great value for money. You get a bunch of stuff in there. Like, I mean, sure, you get like one of some of the giant things, whatever creatures those are. And then you get multiples of these sort of slightly smaller ones. But when you get into like human skulls, they're up in the like 40s, and I think there's like 80 of something as well. Did I see? Yeah, there it is there. Like this full standard skull with the jawbone, 82 of those, and yeah, just a bunch. And these are great for accessorizing scenery, for accessorizing vehicles, bases, armor, whatever you want. And as we kind of take for granted now, the quality of Citadel plastics is of the highest level. They're phenomenally detailed, ultra consistent, and have some incredibly imaginative sculptors working over there in Nottingham. Great stuff on these. These sprues are dated 2017, so really not that long ago. I kind of feel that this skull set's been around forever, but obviously not. It's just great, and you just leave them on the sprue, clip them off when you need to accessorize something in a grim and dark way, and throw the sprue back in your bits box for the next time. Or you can make a little pile of human skulls and have your Chaos Lord standing on top of it, or your Orc War Boss. Maybe even make a belt of them for a Death Dread. Whatever you want to do. You can really just go to town with these. And they're not that expensive. You go buy a bunch of boxes of them and have yourself hundreds and hundreds of... This is so wrong. Hundreds and hundreds of human skulls. For your pleasure. Right. Oh, I almost forgot. I almost forgot this little guy. Just spotted him here. So this is also from Green Stuff World. This is one of these little leaf cutters. And I guess the idea is you go into the garden, you find a bunch of leaves, and then you clip scaled leaves from actual leaves. That's so neat. And acts just like a hole punch in an office, which is so cool. And of course you don't have to use real leaves. You can use anything you want for this, that as long as it fits into that gap, which is pretty wide. You could use here some blue tissue paper. Pop that in. You just chew away at it to your heart's content. You don't even have to be that precise. And what you get out the other side are lovely little blue leaves. Yep. You can throw into a base or a diorama, whatever you want. You can have alien leaves. You can have whatever color you want. And you can use paper, card, actual leaves, and whatever colors that you want to create leaves from. And you're done in a couple of minutes. At different times of the year, I'll go out into the garden and I'll look for leaves on the ground. And I'll put those into the pages of a book. And then I can just, when I need a certain color, I go through the book. I find what color matches the diorama that I'm creating and snip a few leaves out of them, chuck them back in the book. It's just brilliant. So now we've looked at branded stuff from the likes of Green Stuff World, Citadel Miniatures, MIG, Italeri, Tamiya. Also wanted to just have a quick look at the non-branded stuff that I use. And there's so many things that almost end up in our recycling or in our bin that I rescue because I realize, I could probably use that for a thing. One of my colleagues in work, he uses these garlic nets for different types of wire mesh. Stretches them over, pins them down, sprays them up, gives them a bit of weathering, and they look just like wire mesh or any type of scaled netting. Really cool. Just a pack of, from a pack of garlic. Another thing I got was coffee stirrers that came in, I don't know how many were in the pack, probably like 1,000 or something. No plastics, we got a paper wrapper on the outside, and that can go straight into recycling. Or hey, you want some white leaves? Bump, bump, bump. You got yourself some white leaves. Love that. But inside we have a wooden coffee stirrer. They're pretty well scaled for floorboards. I have used them. Let me just grab you a miniature to give you an idea. Here you can see it against a Space Marine, sort of imagining him running along floorboards. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's really is not that far off scale for maybe larger wooden floorboards. These are easily split as well. You just pop your knife, make a little nick there, and they'll just like crack apart in whatever width you want them. Really great for damaging as well. So if you're using it as a part of a blast crater, they just tear apart, and you can get some really nice effects around the edge of like a crater. They're easily you can twist them up like that. So you could have these as a destroyed wooden floorboard. Maybe an artillery shell has landed in part of a house, and you have these all twisted and mangled around the hole. And any stuff that is damaged that you wouldn't be able to use, you would just throw into your rubble pile off at the side. But there's a lot you can do with something as straightforward as like a coffee stirring stick. I ordered a batch of these, I think it was from Wish. So they took a little while to arrive, but they are great quality. and very flexible as battlefield accessory tools, diorama accessories, that sort of thing. And the final thing I wanted to show you was this bag of wonder. This was €4 from an art shop, Art and Hobby, and it is just matchsticks that also happen to work as perfectly scaled fence posts, signposts. You can use these as a thinner scale floorboard or a thinner plank floorboard. They work just as well. They're easy to work with. They cost next to nothing. I don't know how many are in that bag. A bunch. But these are so flexible. They glue together so easily with just like a touch of super glue or a touch of PVA or wood glue, and can be sprayed, trimmed. They snap apart really easily, form sharp shards. There's so much you can do with them. Again, it is the limit is your imagination, what you do with these. They're just a great building block for a whole bunch of stuff. And you can even use them as part of a substructure if you were doing like a kit bash around a vehicle, and then you can sort of build stuff on top of that. Something as simple as this could be a really nicely scaled fence post that goes around the home of a hobbit, or some medieval castle. You could have this, around the front, around the moat with the heads of the enemies on it. That would be so cool. So really, it is down to you what you do with them. But €4, huge bag of these things. And add that into this overall kit. It gives you a huge amount of possibilities for accessorizing your battlefields, your dioramas, bases, dungeons, vehicles, anything at all. And I hope that this video helps you to have some new ideas about where to take your hobbying. And if you did enjoy it, please hit that like button, become a subscriber if you're not already, and share it out there if there's someone you know who would enjoy this content or get something from it. And yeah, that wraps it up. I bring out content every week, so tune in for the next one. Check out the playlists to see if there's anything in the archives that you might enjoy. And as always, comment below if there are any things you want me to feature on the channel, or if you have any questions about what you saw today. Until the next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.